ought to just make sure I hear for that. So probably would have worked, but
All right.
Oh.
oh, wait a minute. Quite ready yet. All right. All right, now we're ready.
All right, we will go ahead and call this meeting of the Eastern Delaware County Joint Recreation District to order. Can I get a roll call, please?
Miss Watson,
Here.
Mr. Coy, Miss Greiger,
I'm here.
Mr. Elliott,
Here.
Mr. Muzakio,
Here.
Miss Savada. All right, we have 4 present. We have a quorum.
All right, the first item on the agenda is the minutes from the August 27th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at those minutes?
Yes.
All right, any discussion?
The only thing I thought was interesting on them was the the untable word. I didn't know if that was a word, but I don't know another way to say it, so
Well, it could say to remove from the table, but to untable, I don't know.
Untable works.
Yeah, on table works too. All right, do you have a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll make the motion.
I will second.
Mr. Muzakio,
Yes.
Miss Watson,
Yes.
Miss Greiger,
Yes.
Mr. Elliott.
Yes.
4 yeas, motion approved.
Right, the next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone on the call from the public who would like to make a comment? All right, we will move on to the unfinished business portion of the agenda. Is this the time to turn it over to Daryl or Mike?
I can start, but I know Mike had just sent an update in terms of where the contract is. So actually, maybe Mike, why don't you start with that?
Sure. No, I apologize for not circulating it to the full board, but Pizzuti's general counsel did respond back to the proposed revisions that we suggested for the services agreement, and they agreed to those changes. The only additional change they proposed back was that due to the appropriation language that we included in the contract, that the contract would be subject to annual appropriation, that we provide them notice if for whatever reason the board did not have the funds to fund the contract, which I think is a reasonable accommodation. So I have sent the contract over to Ms. Watson. If she's comfortable with the changes that have been made to the contract, we can go ahead and sign it and move forward with the services.
Is
Go ahead, sorry.
real quick, I heard you say, how much time do we have to give them? Does it say? Is it like a 30-day, 60-day? How much notice do we have to give them?
The notice would be triggered upon the board becoming aware that funding would not be available.
Okay. So there's no like timing mechanism. It's just once we know, we got to let them know immediately.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think that through. So then, if we make a budget request from, the entities that fund us and it's denied, I mean, is at that point, is that when we know?
I think the different political subdivisions are going to take potentially slightly different approaches to providing the board funding. So, for example, I think the city of Sunbury is planning on granting the board a sum of money that would be the city's share of costs that are anticipated. So presumably there would be a pot of money there that the board would have in its bank account that we would be able to spend for those budgeted expenses, but at its discretion on how it wants to pay the bills, essentially. So if the board realized that, probably in the next month that they weren't going to be able to make a monthly contract payment, that would be my recommendation for providing notice.
Thanks, Mike. I just note, Mr. Coy arrived at 8:06. I'll note that for the record. Thank you, Bernie.
Sorry for the delay there.
And so I'm sorry, Bertie, did you hear the update from Mike that Pizzuto's council had approved the revisions that were proposed with one additional request about notice?
I heard a majority of it, yes. Like the last, or maybe about 80% of it, yes.
If it would be helpful, I could potentially share the contract revisions.
Yeah, that would be helpful, Mike. I'm sorry, I was running my kids around when your email came through, so I did not have a chance to look through the language.
Do you currently see the red line?
Yep.
Well, it's actually blue for me, but
The blue
Yeah.
line. So the changes that we proposed, one was we inserted this language here about the agreement being contingent upon the board having funding. And then Pizzuti proposed back the notice requirement here. And then we filled in the notice information to where they should send those notices. We proposed removing language that if there were litigation over the agreement, that the prevailing party would have to pay the other parties, that the prevailing party could recover attorney's fees, with the thought being that if one party brings a lawsuit, they should just pay their own counsel's fees. And then we added a reciprocal limitation on the potential damages that could be that could come out of this contract. To Pizzuto's liability, they said that they couldn't owe more than the total cost of the contract, and we limited the board's liability to the same.
okay.
And then we added a fiscal officer certificate and just cleaned up a small grammatical change.
Okay, so do you need a vote to approve that?
Daryl can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the board voted to approve the agreement at the last board meeting contingent upon the advice of legal counsel. So I believe
That's right.
Watson, you have the authority to sign the contract if the board is comfortable with it.
Yeah, the changes seem minimal and in line, so I'd be good with it. And our liability cap is capped at the amount of the contract. Is that what I understand?
Correct. That 56,250 amount.
Reciprocal,
56,000.
right? Yeah. So we could only, it's reciprocal too.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, if Pizzuti failed to perform under the contract or expectation, or if they breached it, that they would be liable up to the total that they would get paid under the contract.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. So I would be signing the contract, but then does Greg do the fiscal officer certificate?
That's correct.
Okay.
So there is a
Oh, sorry.
signature page for owner. Hallie, if you wouldn't mind, Chair Watson signing that. I'll sign that signature page after I receive a hard copy from you as the legal counsel. And then we'll provide that to Pizzuti for their signature. And then there's a fiscal officer certificate as well that we'll need Trustee Elliott's signature on.
Yeah, so I can certainly do that. I'm just, is this something that I can maybe arrange with Daryl off of the arrangements to come actually sign the paper copy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can have it available at the front window, or you can sign it, scan it, and send it to me, right? I assume that a scanned signature works too, or not?
That's correct. I think we'll want to eventually accumulate all of the wet ink signatures, but as far as approving the contract, scanned copies are fine.
Okay, Daryl, I'll just reach out to you to make arrangements. I'm thinking I can just swing by tomorrow and sign.
Yeah, and Greg, then I'll have your page ready for signature as well. And again, if you want to sign it digitally, that's fine, but I'll have a copy at the municipal building, Sunbury Municipal Building.
Okay. I'll swing by tomorrow also.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So Mike, unless there's anything else, I did want to kind of move on to kind of what I think happens next with the contract. So with that, they have reached out to me about getting the project started, which is great. We want them to do that. One thing I was thinking, and didn't know if the committee would be comfortable with this or not, is the notion of maybe if I could have a steering committee that could help meet with the contractor as they're doing the work. I mean, there will be opportunities for them to come back and report to the full board, but there will be some action that needs to be taken based upon kind of some direction that they're getting from a subgroup of the members. So I was wondering if we had a representative from each of the jurisdictions on a steering committee, that would not be a quorum, so we'd be below that, we'd be fine. It will require some time up front. It'll require some time at the back end as well, but I think the first month or so will probably be a fairly, I wouldn't say a lot of time, but certainly some time. So, and I know schedules are very tight, so getting representatives from each of the jurisdictions may be a bit of a challenge, but just throwing that out, see if if you like that option or not. I mean, the other option is, of course, Todd and Maria were involved in the scoring. They could continue to be the representatives, but then we'd still probably want to have somebody from Sunbury represent as well. So anyway, thoughts, comments, alternatives?
So I feel like the last time Maria wasn't around and we volunteered her to do this.
We did.
And she had she apologized that she reached out to me. She has what I'm calling a Milwaukee mishap. She lost her wallet in Milwaukee while
Oh,
traveling.
no.
So
Oh,
she
that's
so
awful.
she got stuck there for an extra day, so she couldn't join tonight. I'm happy to step in and do it. Since again the last time we kind of volunteered her when she wasn't around. So for Berkshire, I can be the representative.
Wonderful.
Just all the extra time in my day will figure it out. So
Yeah, I'll pitch some dates and times for the kickoff meeting. So
yeah.
we can.
Just FYI, I'm traveling the next 2 weeks, so
Okay. All right.
I can be virtual if need be. I'll
Yep.
figure it out.
And Todd, I know you were the one, from Goleta who was on the committee the last time. So, if it's something you'd like to continue, that's great. If you would like for me to do it, I'm happy to do that as well.
Todd, you're on mute.
Did we lose him?
Sorry, guys.
Either.
I'd be willing to continue unless you'd like to do it. I'll leave it up to you though, Haley.
If you're willing to continue, that'd be great. The next couple of months are actually
Okay.
less than ideal for me to take on anything else.
Okay, sure.
And Jody, unless you really want it, I could join that steering committee as well.
Go ahead, all yours.
All right. So I've got Greg, Todd, and Bernie as the steering committee members. So I'll reach out to you with some dates for the kickoff discussion. So thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's all I had for the needs assessment and market analysis. So if we want to move on to the budget, we can do that. Let me
Sounds
see.
good.
Pull up the. What did I do with it? Had the budget. Where'd it go?
It's part of the JRD meeting packet, right?
It is, yeah, but I was trying to share it and I don't know why I can't share it.
Daryl, would you like me to attempt to share it?
Yeah, if you've got it nearby, do that. That'd be great. I thought I had it up, but apparently I don't.
Your computer is doing quite a bit of multitasking.
All right, so that's the resolution. Maybe if you could skip to the attachment first. There we go. All right, so what I've put together here, thank you very much, Mike, for the initial draft on that. What it showed you is the budget as approved for the 2025 year. So that's the first column. That's the $20,000. The proposed budget in this amendment is the center column there. And basically it's adding $26,100 to add local grants. That is the city of Sunbury's contribution, proportional contribution going in first, because I know we're waiting on the other jurisdictions to do what they need to do to bring additional funds. But at 46,100, that gives us the adequate funding to cover the consulting services for the balance of the calendar year. So there was one other change to the appropriation. After getting the insurance quotes, we had originally budgeted 5,000, but dropped that down to 3,000. And as you can see on the far right-hand column, the actual amount is even a little less than that. So the last column there is just kind of a current state of play. It's it's not truly what's estimated to be the cash balance at the end of the year. Don't want anybody thinking that we'll have $35,000. Most of that will go out to the contractor to complete the first 4 months project. So anyway, so that's what the exhibit is, and then attached to that document is the resolution itself. So Mike, if there's anything you want to call out in the resolution.
The resolution is similar to the resolution that the board adopted for its 2025 fiscal year budget, rather than having some additional moving parts about designating the depository, opening the bank account. This simply just amends that budget that was put into place back on April 3rd with the exhibit that Daryl just walked through.
Great, thanks. Any questions?
No question, but more of a comment. We updated Tyler with the city of Berkshire, or the Berkshire Township, of this, and he wanted us to let everyone know that the city of Berkshire will be requesting about $50,000 for the 2026 budget to help with expenses going forward for 2026. So they are thinking about it. They're going to ask for it to be appropriated into their, or ask to be added to their budget for 2026. Just FYI.
Yeah, thank you for reaching out to your group. And I know I think both Ms. Watson and Mr. Musacchio did the same in Galena. So looks like we've still got the support of our partners. It's just a matter of timing in terms of getting the all of the funds in place. So
yep.
All right, so then I think a motion to approve the resolution amending the budget is in order.
Yep, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Elliott,
Yes.
Ms. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Coy,
Yes.
Ms. Greiger,
Yes.
Mr. Musacchio.
Yes.
5 yeas, motion approved. All right, and then the last item we had on the agenda was just, I think, to begin a little bit of discussion about the 2026 budget. So Greg, you, I think, have gotten us started with a conversation about what the village of, or what the Berkshire Township is considering. Actually, I think I've got a similar number in my draft budget for the JRD for next year as well. But what we probably need to talk a little bit about is what, if anything, we know about what we think we're going to need next year. Little uncertain at this point. I think one of the things we had talked a little bit about is if once we get through the needs assessment and the market analysis. We know there's going to be additional contract work that's going to need to be done, to kind of prepare for, a ballot process. So there's definitely some legal costs associated with that. And Mike, I don't know if you guys have had any chance to think a little bit about what that could look like. But I also think there's probably an interim step for a contractor to kind of take the market analysis and do a little bit more with that. I'm just not sure exactly what that little bit more is like. So it's hard for me to kind of estimate what level of service there's going to be. But I know I think it's highly likely that we would need some additional contract services to kind of get the preliminary documents ready for a ballot initiative.
So we talked about this also. So we believe that we will need to hire an architect to do at least some form of a conceptual design for the facility once we do the needs assessment and the what we hired Pizzuti to do. So we believe we'll need that. We believe that if we partner with a construction company, they may be able to provide estimates kind of at cost, just to help move the process along. Like you mentioned, it's ballot measures as additional cost to whatever that cost is to get it on the ballot for next year's election cycle. And then the last thing would be, are there any costs for that we could think of, community events or get-togethers, right? Any potential campaigning, right? If necessary. So that's kind of where we thought the additional costs were. What that equals, we don't know, but that's just a list of the things that we thought about.
Is that something that Pizzuti could assist us with?
Yeah.
Seeing
Yeah.
that they have all the connections there.
Yes, and being that their contract is under what's allowable for like us to move forward without having to go to bid. If we can get them to do that for us, a smaller fee, then we can just move forward with them. Or we could go out and do a similar process that we did to get Pizzuti and put out an RFQ and have different providers do the quote. It'll be quicker to go with Pizzuti because they'll have all the information already. And then we don't have to then put an RFQ together and then put it out and then get bids back and analyze it, right? We could just say, once you get all this, how much will it be to document it, right, with your in-house architecture group? So we can explore both options though, Bernie.
Yeah, and one of the things we should explore both options is just timing of it. We're going to run out of time very quickly.
100% agree. Yeah.
So I was like, so when can we start? It'd be tough to get the ball rolling for the alternate option instead of going with Pizzuti, but we should have that conversation with them.
Well, and I'm sorry, I have a question on that. Can we, as a matter of like complying with our purchasing policy, go forward with just Pizzuti, or would we have to
It depends on what the
cost.
Under 75K, we can go forward with Pizzuti. So we're at 56 now. So if it was 19, roughly 18 and change, we should be fine. But if it's more than that, and if that's my math is wrong, right? But if it's more than that, then we would have to potentially go to bid. I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong, right, Daryl?
So a couple of things. One is we're into a separate fiscal year when we enter into the separate second contract. So I would like Mike to maybe weigh in on whether or not that starts the 75K over again or not. So that's sort of one thing. But the other thing is, Greg, that's great feedback on kind of the anticipated activities that would occur next year. The only caveat I would say to that was the last point that you made with respect to the community events, hosting the campaign. I don't think we can use the public funds for that. I think we have to have a third party, not a third party. I mean, there's a campaign committee that kind of helps do that, and they raise their own separate funds and what have you. I mean, I'm not the legal expert on this, Mike. I think these were some of the things that Becky was kind of talking about a little bit the last or a couple of meetings ago. So, but anyway, but the architectural, the conceptual drawings, getting a firmer sense of the construction costs. That's actually, you're absolutely right. Those are going to be critical next steps.
Yeah, as far as the bid requirements for architectural services, I think that the question of whether or not we'd have to go and do a separate bid depends on whether or not it'd be a separate contract from Pizzuto's existing contract. If it was an addendum to the current contract, as long as it didn't go over that 75K, I think we would be very clearly within the policy of not needing to go out for a separate bid. But if there's a separate service contract, then we would want to evaluate that separately. And then as far as the campaign committee, Administrator Hennessy is correct. The board can't use public funds for a levy campaign. So often a volunteer campaign committee is assembled, and those volunteers are given factual information that presumably be creating for the board, and they would use that factual information that the board could provide to the campaign committee to then actually go out and either raise funds through donations, potentially to get community support for a levy that's put on the ballot, or try and solicit campaign donations from service providers or other parties that are interested in seeing the levy pass.
Thanks.
And I can also speak to the ballot costs.
Yep.
So I had the opportunity to speak more with Ms. Princehorn, and I know many meetings ago I mentioned that there would be a separate legal fee that would probably need to be appropriated for creating ballot language, and that would potentially be separate from the costs of issuing the bonds. I was half right, half wrong. Ms. Princehorn clarified for me that when we do a bond issue, the levy work is often, the legal fees associated with the levy work is often rolled into the legal fees associated with the bond work. So if the board decided to pursue a bond for a facility and that levy passed, the premium that would come with issuing tax exempt debt for the facility would help pay for the legal costs, along with the costs of marketing the bonds to be purchased by someone on the open market or be privately placed somewhere. So if you had a successful levy campaign and bonds passed, the legal fees wouldn't need to be separately appropriated by the board. They'd be approved as part of the bond resolution issuing the debt. If, however, they're in a worst case scenario, their levy failed, there was a levy and the levy failed, then any law firm would separately charge the legal fees for the work of getting the levy on the ballot, and that would only be around $6,000 to $8,000, and that would be separately charged, and therefore would need to be separately appropriated and budgeted for.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. So we can pay for our legal fees with the bond that we, perfect. Okay.
That's correct.
All right.
So then,
Similarly, because we could pay for like a bunch of our soft costs, right? So design work would be all part of the bond once it gets approved and allocated to us. We could then use those funds for different fees, design, right? All of that good stuff that needs to happen before we actually put a shovel in the ground.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
so worst case scenario, then in terms of legal fees, we would be budgeting for between 6,000 and 8,000
for levy preparation services. If, for general counsel legal fees, it looks like we've spent approximately 7,000 this year so far.
Yeah. So the general, so there'd certainly be general legal fees just like we put in this year's budget. That, the insurance cost is going to recur as well. So, maybe what I could do is, I'll get maybe I can get a general sense from the Pizzuti folks about, if we were, what would be a rough estimate of, a conceptual design. So it's not full scale design, but something that, the voters can see and begin to kind of visualize what this could be. What the cost of something like that would be, and kind of honing in on the estimated construction costs of so we can set the bond rate and do that kind of stuff. I'll see if I can get a general number from them and see if we can't float, sort of a high level budget option. Yeah, so that at least, again, the village of Galena, Berkshire Township, and the city of Sunbury have something going into their budgeting process to be looking at. So I'll do that. I'll get it out to the group, and we can put it on the agenda as a topic for the next meeting.
All right, are we ready to move on to the next item, which is information?
Yep. And I don't have anything else for the board this evening.
Okay, so then it seems like we just need to find a date for our next meeting.
Correct.
And so the primary thing I think was going to be resolved then is just the budget estimate, addressing the budget estimate that you're able to come up with, Daryl. So I'm trying to think through, how quickly we should try to have that meeting. And I guess in my mind, and people can tell me if they disagree, it seems like we'd be better to do that sooner rather than later so that we can get with our respective political subdivisions and they can get working on it. So I'm gonna just throw something out. Does 2 weeks sound too early, too late?
We can do, well, I don't need to be there, but I'm out the week of the 22nd and the 29th, so I'm likely not available for a night meeting.
Yeah, and I would say 2 weeks feels like it might be a little bit tight to me because
Okay.
I've got to get some feedback from Pizzuti or somebody else who would do this kind of work. So that puts us at least 3 weeks out, which is the week of October 6th.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So do we want, I mean, Daryl, would you feel comfortable that looking at dates the week of October the 6th would be enough time?
Yeah, I feel like it would be enough time for me to be able to have something back to you.
Okay.
So a Monday night, at this time works if we, needed or wanted to do it virtual. Tuesday the 7th, yeah, either one of those nights probably works. I mean, it doesn't have to be 8, but I mean, if it's, 7 or 8, this time works or should work.
I'm open either one of those too, so if that helps.
Monday is better for me.
Okay. Tuesday, is Tuesday better?
No, Monday is better for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if it's 8 p.m. virtual, I can do that.
Yep, I could do the same.
Jody, would that work for you?
Yes, that works for me.
All right.
I think Miss Sabato would be good with it also.
All right. So October 6th, 8 p.m. virtual again. Okay. I'll get the notice out to folks.
All right. Are we ready for a motion to adjourn?
I think so.
All right, I move to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
But Bernie got it.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Coy,
Yes.
Mr. Muzakio,
Yes.
Ms. Greiger,
Yes.
and Mr. Elliott.
Yes.
5-0, motion approved. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.